in the league as well. I don't know about you, but I've seen some rumors now about NBA potentially adding franchises in Seattle and in Las Vegas. It seemed like off the bat, Adam Silver was kind of quick to knock that down. But the rumors are still out there; they're floating. What do you make of all this? Did you hear any news? And what do you think that would mean for the game to have franchises in both of those cities?
It'll mean a lot of money. It still boggles my mind how Seattle, I lived there for 6 years and everything, but it's like, it still boggles my mind how somebody thought like, oh, Oklahoma City's a better place to put an NBA franchise than Seattle. Seattle has how many like Fortune 500 companies? How much tech money in there? It's got Microsoft, it's got Costco, it's got Starbucks, it's got Amazon. What does Oklahoma City have? Like, what you got compared to those companies, right? So I don't get how that. I mean, I do get it, how that all transpired. I know there's people in Seattle that hate Howard Schultz, because he used to be the owner of the Seattle Supersonics, and then sold it to an entrepreneur. I don't even know who the owner is for the Oklahoma City Thunder because I don't care. But that person basically was like, yeah, I'm not going to. I think the idea was that Schultz thought that this guy was not going to take the team and run to Oklahoma City, even though he was like living in Oklahoma City. But he ended up actually going to Oklahoma City, despite, I think, whatever handshake that was promised there. And since then, Howard Schultz has been trying to like vindicate himself because of all this. But I think it'll be great for Seattle. Seattle is such a great sports city. It's such a great basketball city too. There's a lot of NBA talent that has come from there because of the Supersonics, because of the Gary Paytons and Sean Kemps of the world. So, and Detlef Schrempfs. So I think that it'll be great for basketball for the monetary side, and then being just a great sports city. I think Seattle definitely deserves it. People also forget that Vancouver's up north there. I know there's Portland down south, but Vancouver is such a state-of-the-art city. Like, it's my favorite city in all of North America. Like, great economy, great, just state-of-the-art city. It's my favorite city to go to in like city in North America, I would say. So great food scene. Everything is pretty much state-of-the-art there. So I think it's great that they are able to get, if Seattle's able to get an NBA franchise there. Now, Las Vegas, hey, with sports gambling becoming more prominently like legalized, I think that's, obviously with the whole NFL franchise coming there, NHL franchise coming there, it obviously makes sense to why not have an NBA franchise there. I think it'll be great for the NBA, obviously. And I think, if they can segue into sports gambling a little bit more, why not? Especially as the other franchise or all the other leagues are doing so as well. So I think it'll be great there. And I think there's a lot of growth opportunities from there too, and being a destination place. So, because I've traveled to Vegas for an NFL game, it's pretty fun. I think I went last year for a Bears game, and I'm like, oh, who's the halftime show? It ended up being Ludacris, which I'm like, this isn't a Chicago Bears type of halftime show. They probably have like, the Bucket Boys or something like that. No shame to the Bucket Boys, but they're not Ludacris, So I think it's a whole nother level. It's gonna take it to the next level, just being in Las Vegas in a city like that. So, but what are your thoughts? How do you see things playing out?
So it looks like, at least from what I saw, that while Adam Silver kind of spurned this idea off the bat, it seems like the NBA's collective bargaining agreement expires in 23-24. So maybe that's when it gets revisited. Seems like there's a lot of momentum around it. I mean, LeBron's kind of voiced himself and being like super interested in buying the Vegas team, setting up shop there. I think he mentioned it on, the barbershop or the shop, whatever his HBO series is called or what have you. But I could see LeBron heading up a franchise like that. I mean, it looks like, tons of NBA players are, starting to, put their stakes into different teams. I mean, whether it even is the same sport or it goes across different sports now for all types of athletes, I should say. But Dwayne Wade with Utah Jazz, and I could just see his interest being fully into basketball, and it's been his entire life. And he's a successful businessman too. I mean, he's done Blaze Pizza. He's producing movies now. He's always been with Nike. It just kind of feels like he's going to know his way around the business world, as well as understanding players and scouting and development. I mean, he's a good team leader on the court. So I would love to see his vision there. I mean, hopefully he does tick better than Jordan did off the bat, and being either a GM or high powered exec or something like that. But I think LeBron would be great for an NBA organization and culture in that sense. But yeah, I mean, as far as both teams getting established in both of those cities, I mean, it feels like sticking with Las Vegas, when they brought on the Golden Knights for the NHL, first year they make it to the finals. I mean, like, what's the chances of that ever happening? I mean, they ended up losing, but in the same sense, it was like the shocker around the world, and just instantly built a culture around that that team. And it felt like that was one of the impetuses for the Raiders being comfortable moving there and starting a franchise there. And now they're growing. They brought in a bunch of extra talent. It looks like Devontae Adams will be with Carr this year for the Raiders. So like that's a huge draw for people that were Raiders fans in the past, or even if you're a brand new Raiders fan in Las Vegas. So I'm sure for basketball they could do the same thing. To the Sonics, yeah, Clay Bennett was the owner that moved him to Oklahoma City. It's like his hometown and where he set up shop and businesses and stuff. So extremely unpopular move. I mean, fortunate enough for Oklahoma City. I mean, that's been a great franchise, run by Sam Presti, and I've had some home run hits on NBA draft night with Durant, Westbrook, Harden, Ibaka. You go down the line, just been like some really great decisions they've made over the years, especially with all their draft capital now. But pointing to Seattle, it always seemed like a destination, for the NBA when the Sonics were actually there. When they left, it was a huge blow to that community of Sonics fans. But also, I think Seattle's kind of proven that, looking at the Seahawks, for example, when they were on their Super Bowl run, it was just, that was the 12th member of the team. It was the fans. It's like, and you could tell that it was just, I think, noise level wise, they're like first in pro sports or something for like the decibel levels they can get to in that stadium. I think it was once Quest Field. I don't know if that's the same sponsorship still, but I've even heard like the Seattle Sounders football club. That's another huge culture that was built up in Seattle that's just like propelled the MLS. So now Major League Soccer is just like on fire in the United States, and it's due in part to teams like the Sounders that could build such great fan bases. So maybe that Sonics move to OKC is like a blessing in disguise, but still they deserve a franchise. They deserve a team being there, and would totally be cool with them just bringing back the Sonics 2.0. That'd be so cool. It'd be like the kind of like the Cleveland Browns in the 90s or what have you, just a fan base that's always been by the side of the team, and they bring back like the iconic logo and colors and things like that. So that would be cool too. I think the last point that Silver brought up, I think somewhat worth debating, even if we just touch on it, but just going to 31, 32 teams, Silver talked about it, maybe diluting the talent pool. I think arguments could be made on either side. I mean, I think there's, considerable amount of depth in the G League. Overseas talent is continuing to grow. Maybe this is a runway for older players to stick around in the league for a couple more years, or maybe get some of these younger guys on the court faster. So in a lot of ways, maybe it's all relative, but what do you make of all the, points I said, or like just this idea that Silver raises?
Yeah. I'll touch that point, and then I'll go back to LeBron and all that, because there's a lot of money there, and yeah, it's kind of like ESPN. Let's talk about LeBron all the time. Anyway, Yeah, so with regards to diluting, I think there's too much money to be made for it not to occur. So I think they're like, yeah, let's get the money there, and then let's figure out a way to make sure that the talent level and the star players are still around, going to these franchises. I think they'll be fine long term. Uh, so yeah, again, there's too much money to be made there for that not to happen. Adam Silver knows that. So I think that with regards to maybe helping some of those stuff out, yeah, like there's only becoming more NBA talent and grooming happening. Whether it's players going overseas or this whole G League thing, kind of these programs coming up to where players are just skipping college and all that. It's like, why would I play with a bunch of 18-year-olds and to 22-year-olds when I can play with grown men and operate in facilities, and especially with these whole like things with regards to these players just being able to monetize their own properties now. It's like, why would I be under the restrictions of the NCAA and all that? It's like I can do other things. I think there'll be much more people skipping uh, probably skipping college altogether. That being said, maybe the college game does suffer. It kind of has been suffering a little bit. You didn't see LaMelo Ball, play for like Kentucky or whatever, so or UCLA. And if they do play for the NCAA, usually it's for a year, right? So I think if the NCAA, if I know they're kind of leaning into this whole like, yeah, let's just grab him and then let's do this whole NIL thing and all that, right? So I sure go for that. But we're not kidding ourselves. If I am a LaMelo Ball, somebody with like some recognition and the obvious talent to do things, I'm gonna want to play in the NBA, get to this whole G League, play with professionals, or play overseas. Get people in Australia or in Europe or in Spain, right? To get that brand notoriety going, right? So I think that's one way to go about it. And then like, yeah, you can still post on Instagram for people in Kentucky or Kansas and all to see me too. And I don't have to play for the University of Kansas to do all that. So I think it's better for the sport, great for the sport, great for the players, for expansion, and obviously good business for the NBA in general. With regards to LeBron, he is a businessman. There is a reason why he went to the Lakers. I mean, for show, definitely for the show, for the brand and all that. But he wanted to start his own production company, right? Which he has, and kind of created it with this whole hustle movie and all that too. But Las Vegas has no, or Nevada has no state income tax, so I think he does own a property over there. And I feel like this whole migration of people just moving around anywhere has taught us anything, is that if I'm a successful business person in California, like why would I want to go there? I can obviously get my own helicopter or private jet in Vegas, and then go to meetings in LA if I need to. But my residency and all that will be in Vegas or Nevada at least, so that I don't have to pay state income tax. So I think that's what he'll probably be doing. Since he is a savvy businessman, have his residency there. I think he does have property there. Although apparently it says his Vegas house is a purchase he most regrets, apparently. So I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but yeah, if he lives there and is not too far from LA, and it's like, why not set up shop there and then set a franchise there? And I think that's a cool way to go, and that'll be a great impact, and people will be traveling to Vegas to see him and experience the Vegas nightlife and all it has to offer. So I think it'll be great. Makes sense if I'm LeBron James. So yeah, so my thoughts.
Got it. Yeah. This is for sure. I feel like this is yeah, it's forthcoming. All this stuff is going to happen at some point in some time. I feel like 2024 might be the good target date based on the CBA expiring. So we'll see. I mean, baseball went through a lot of great changes. I thought leading into this season when they came to their deal between players and owners. Like, I think this is another great opportunity then for both sides to just open their eyes and see, like, clearly Seattle needs their team back. It's been what
Crazy.
has it been 6 years or more. I mean, I just think I definitely think they need just to get their franchise back. And in Vegas, it's proving to be a great destination. Whether sports gambling is detrimental to society. Maybe, I don't know if it's, possible to, affecting sports and how the game is actually played or what the outcomes actually are. I don't know if, over the years we might see some shady business happening. I mean, it's definitely possible, but as far as it being a great destination, just set up a franchise, get fans in the stands, and build cultures. Like, they're proving they can do that. So, keep it rolling until something comes off the tracks, I guess. But